Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm your host Ed, and today we're going to do a review and talk about the Tissot T-Touch Expert Solar 2 wristwatch. Boy, that's a mouthful, but it's a really great watch. This was on my list for like 10 years when I first saw it, well over $1,000 even at the time. And I couldn't justify it at the time because I was into Swiss mechanical watches, and I said, oh, for that money I can get a Baume & Mercier or Omega at the time. I used Omega. So it just didn't happen until about 6 months ago, and I bought it from an authorized dealer when they had a really good discounts on their watches, and this one was on clearance. It's the last one they had in the whole system, so I got it from an authorized dealer from a good price. It's the best thing I did. It's one of my favorite watches now. I wear it all the time, almost every day, just because on how useful it is. And two of my main criteria in a watch is that it has to be easy to read and tell the time day or night, and it has to be comfortable, because if it doesn't do those two things, I'm not going to wear the watch. And I bought a lot of watches and sold a lot of watches because I just didn't care for them for one other reason or another. But this one just crosses off so many things on my list. It makes it just a pleasure to use. I still rotate all my other watches and I have fun with all of them. But I've wanted this one for a really long time, and it doesn't disappoint. So I'll tell you the features and go over things. We'll see if you agree with some of my points. I like to put a carry item sometimes with my watches, since I carry these as well. And here is one of my recently acquired Benchmades, which I really like. If you've seen my other videos, you know I like the axis locks. I do some knife videos as well. It's got that gorgeous red standoffs and color G10 liners. It's really nice knife. This is the Benchmade 560, also known as the Freek, which I think is a silly name because it's not freakish in any way. It's got a nice blade of M4. You don't see M4 very often in steels. Anyway, stay tuned for a review on that one. And also I have my rail back here. This is just to remind me to make sure I do a loom shot. And this gives out a lot of light for a few seconds. I can really charge it up fast. A nice green aluminum body, which goes along with the green motif on the watch. All right, let's get to it. Let's talk about this awesome watch. Well, the first thing, it's one of those ABC watches, so-called, which is altimeter, barometer, and compass, and this has all of those, in addition to the digital features you see on G-Shocks and so forth. So it's going to have alarms, a countdown timer, chronograph, the usual things, multiple alarms. Except this one is in titanium, and that's why I wanted this for so long, because I like big watches. I like easy to read watches, but I don't like the weight anymore of really big watches. And I've had Planet Oceans. I've had about 15 or 20 Omegas through the years, a lot of Seamasters. I've had chronograph Seamasters on a bracelet, which is topping out at like close to 7 ounces. and I get tired of that after a while. They're fun for a while, but to wear one of those all day, it gets tiring. You're wearing almost a half a pound on your wrist. And so this isn't anything like that. This comes in at 2.8 ounces, amazingly, 2.8 ounces. It is a large watch, though, at 53 millimeters, according to the specs, but it's really not quite that. I'm going to show you why it's not quite 53 millimeters in diameter. But it is 53 millimeter lug to lug from this distance from here to here. So it is a larger watch, but it's only 13.1 millimeters thick. So it doesn't sit high off the wrist. Makes it for a very comfortable watch. How light is 2.8? Well, just to give you an idea, I got some other watches here to show you really quickly. So we have here the Seiko Samurai, really nice watch, automatic. But this one's coming in at 3.8 ounces on a strap. Of course, on a bracelet, it's coming over 6 ounces. But this is similar in size. It's actually a lot smaller. So if you think this is a big watch, the Samurai, or the Seiko Turtles are going to be around the same size, the new Turtles. So you can see the difference in the size there. This one is a smaller watch, but it is heavier. So this is 3.8 ounces. Here we have another nice field watch, and this is the Luminox metal series, all metal, screwed it back. But that's 3.4 ounces. Still over half ounce heavier. And then we have another one of my favorite watches, the new metal It's not all metal because of the bracelet. This has a nice silicone bracelet, but look at that. It's got the screw down back. It's one of those heavy G-Shocks. This is coming in at 3.4, still heavier than that Tissot Expert. Here we have a really nice chronograph, carbon fiber. Is that gorgeous? 3.2 ounces. Still, this is a light watch. Leather strap, 3.2 ounces. Carbon fiber. This comes in all different iterations. I'll be doing a review of this soon. What else we got here? All right, now we got, here we go. Seiko DW5000 original, based on the original from the 82. It's one of my favorite watches. I wear this all the time too. I wear all these watches a lot because they're the ones that survived, me not selling them. Yep. Anyway, this one is coming in at 2.6 ounces. So this is just a hair under this, almost the same. So that's what you're getting. If you were going to wear this comfortably, then this isn't going to be really much any heavier. Here's one that weighs exactly the same. Here's one of those new Bluetooth G-Shocks. This one comes with a combi bracelet. This one has polymer inserts, links though, not the metal like the older link. So they changed the way the link bracelet is. But this weighs exactly what this does. And this is all plastic bracelet. Plastic watch, and the back is one of those nice milled ones, but it isn't a screw down one. So this weighs about the same, very light. So that just kind of gives you an idea of where the weight comes in. Now we're going to show you on the wrist before I forget. I've done that once before. My Tissot diver. Anyway, wristwatch check. Today I am wearing my, I wear this almost every day in my right hand. I often wear two watches when I go out. And this one here is a Tissot Tough Solar, and this one has a no screwed on back. It's a totally solid back. So there you go. That's a nice watch. This one's heavier as well. This one's like 3.2 or something like that. Anyway, so let's take this one off. We'll throw the Tissot on, and before it gets too long, we'll talk about the features. Let me get this on here really quickly. Well, by the way, don't get confused about the color of the strap. I replaced the strap. This is the strap that's off the green version of this watch. If you've seen different versions of this Solar 2, there's one that kind of looks like a compass on the face. It's all green. All right, so there it is on the wrist. I have 7.5-inch wrist, but I do have wide wrist. So my wrists are around 58 millimeters across, so I can, carry this fine. There you go. It's got double keepers. We'll talk about the strap in a minute. But there you go. Yeah, very comfortable. Not too big. It fits under cuffs really easily. It's not high. You know the G-Shock, big G-Shocks, the round ones, they don't fit under a cuff like this. So this is very, very thin, very light. Easy to operate too. That's the thing about this watch that I like the most, is that you don't have to take it off your wrist to go through the functions. So when you push the button here, it activates it. Touch over here and you can see the hands move. How cool is that if you've never seen that before? You see how the hands moved out of the way so you can see the display? So then you just hit this for chronograph, you're already chronographing. Hit the center, go back to time. And then the chronograph is still operating. If you go back to the chronograph, you see where you are. How cool is that? Man, the watch is really cool. Let me get off my wrist and you can see a little bit easier how everything works. All right, so let's go over the features. We'll let that run. Watch what happens after 30 seconds. Oh, it keeps going. There you go. So it goes back to the time, but it'll still run and keep it running for you. If you want to go back to the date and have this run in the background, you could do that as well. So all the features, you could actually go back to your normal display of seeing the date and the day, which it displays, while the other things are running. So that's what makes it a nice, easy to use and well thought out watch. All right, let me go through my list here so I don't forget anything here. So, has the barometer, the altimeter, compass, 2 chronographs, countdown timers, 2 alarms, has a backlight, and this is solar powered. If I didn't mention it before, this is a solar powered watch. And that top portion that looks kind of like carbon fiber is the solar panel. This has one of the largest solar panels I've ever seen on a watch. Let me go back. You touch this here to activate the T-touch. There it is. And then now we can go back to the center. And then go back to February 26th, 2020, a Wednesday. If you see here that blinking T-touch, that means it's still activated, so we can go through the other functions. We'll do that in a second. Let me go over the features before I forget. Keep it more organized. All right, so it has a sapphire crystal, 100-meter water resistance, which is pretty good for a chronograph. That's the standard you want to go by. You want to try to get 100 meters on a chronograph. You'll often see them 50. So this is really a home run at 100 meters. All right, I'm just going to talk about it instead of going through the list. All right, we're going to go top to bottom. So right off the bat, on the top, you see the bezel. What's amazing about this bezel is, and I thought it was titanium like the rest of the watch, but it's actually ceramic, just like the new Rolexes, Submariners and so forth, they're sport watches. This is a ceramic bezel, and as you can see, all the fine checkering, the compass points. This is non-rotating because it's a compass points. It's not going to be a timer. You see that really nice crisp lettering. Here we have the degrees for the compass on the bezel. On the inside, you can see where you have little markings on the functions. So at 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4, 6, 8, and 10, you have a function. So when you touch that touchscreen, it's going to do that function. That's what makes this watch so easy to use. You don't have to go from the side. As much as I like my pilot versions of the Citizen watches, the Skyhawk and Nighthawks, the writing is extremely small, and you have to pull out the crown and try to turn it and go to different functions while you're wearing it. I find it impossible. You have to take the watch off. This, you don't have to do that. You can wear the watch like you saw, and you can just hit the button and do things. All right, so at 12 o'clock, we have meteorological, which is the barometer, and it has absolute and relative. Then we have the altimeter. We'll do those in a second. And then if you touch on here, you have the chronographs. At the 6 o'clock position, you have the compass. At the 8 o'clock, you have the alarms. And at the 10 o'clock, you have the countdown timer, or timers. There's two. On the previous versions of the T-Touch Expert titanium watches, not the solar, but the other ones, they still make them. It uses a battery. This position here is occupied by the temperature, which I missed. I wish this had it. It's in the service menu, but you're really not supposed to go in there. But the sensor is in here, or it's with the module, the caliber, which is Swiss, by the way. But in this one, they chose to do, because they said while you're wearing it, the temperature is not accurate. It's always going to be like, 88 degrees or something. But I just take it off. You take it off if you're camping. You put it in your tent for 10 minutes or something. You'll get an accurate of the temperature. But anyway, the countdown timers are very useful, and that's what they figured. More use than the temperature gauge. All right, so let's watch them work now. All you do is push it once, a fast push. It activates it. And you touch 12, and there is the barometric pressure in the display, and that's relative, 1018. If you touch it again, and now you're going to get absolute, and that's hectopascals or something. Here we use inches of barometric pressure. But anyway, that's what that is there. And also it's trends. These hands will go from 10 to 2 o'clock. And right now, so anything past 12 going this way means the weather is improving. And after 20 seconds, it goes back to the time. And it's not blinking anymore, so the touch screen won't work. One of the downsides, as you can tell, the touch screen, is if you're touching it, it's going to get a little bit dirty if your hands are greasy or something. All right, so let's get that activated again. There is the trend. If this starts falling, then bad weather is coming. If it starts going up, you probably got good weather coming. As a general rule, this is the altitude, 165 feet. I calibrate it every morning if I'm going to go out, because people claim that these watches aren't accurate for altitude. But the altitude is based on the pressure, and pressure is always changing. So you want to calibrate it once in a while, and you'll get accurate of where you're going. So that's in feet, but you could also change this to meters. As you can see, it's still running. even though it goes back to time. So you could leave this like this and go walking up and down hills, and it'll show your ascent and descent. And I think it keeps track of some of them. I haven't gone through that in the manual yet. All right, so that's the altimeter. And if you live in Europe or Canada or something where you want meters, you can change this to meters in the setup menu. All right, let's activate it again. And over here we have the chronograph. And what's really cool, see the hands get out of the way so you can see the timer. And if you're driving and you're timing your drive or something, just leave it alone. It'll go back to the time and it'll keep track still of your lapse time. It also does the laps, so you can do that as well. Keep track of those races and so forth, which I never use. All right, so that's the chronograph. And it's still blinking, so now we can go to the compass. The compass is really cool. As you can see, as you're walking, it's moving. The red arrow on the minute hand is pointing to north. As you turn to see, it works like that. And then there's the degrees. So obviously, if you go to 360 or 0, sorry about that. So then that'll be north then. So that's really cool. Let me do that again. And then if you hit it twice, and then this is really cool. So you mark where you set the direction where you want to go. Hit the second part of the compass. Let's go back. Here's calibrating. You can calibrate your compass with that. We won't do that now. So here's the compass, but if you touch it again, let's say you figured out that right here is your heading, 308 degrees. So all you do is hit the compass again, and now it zeroes it out. So then as you walk, if you go off course, this arrow here tells you need to start going this way. See, and then if you go too far, and then it tells you to go the other direction. If you go too far this way, you're off track, and then the arrow will show up, telling you which way to go. And there's the arrow going the other direction there. If you're off course, you can say, hey, turn around, you're going the wrong way. So there you go, see? Then it goes back. All right, so that's the compass. And up here we have the alarms. And the alarm's off. You can turn the alarm on and off right here. If you touch it again, you have alarm 2. I mean, it's so easy to use, just like a touchscreen iPad or something. Here you have the thermometer. The countdown timer. And it has the regular countdown timer, and it has the regatta one. And this one here, I think is for racing or something. I mean, for boat racing and yacht racing and the regatta. So it's going to start counting down like at 10 minutes, it'll do every minute. And then 3 minutes, it'll do every 20 seconds. And then the last 10 seconds is a countdown, like a rocket launching, 10 to 0, 10, 9. So it'll count that down. All right, so that's all the immediate functions there. So we want to go back and shut that off and go back to the center. And as you can see, the regular display shows when's the day of the week, date. But if you touch it again in the center, you could leave this on, and it gives you time number 1. It also has 2 times. You could do UTC or a time somewhere else, Paris or whatever. Here we have T1, and we have the seconds counting down. What's really cool about the second hand is see how it's hitting right on the marker? Man, these Swiss watch, the Tissot T-Touches, are incredibly precise. So that motor in there that's moving the arrows, watch when it hits 20 seconds. You're going to see the minute hand move. It moves 3 times. Watch. See it move? It does that 3 times a minute, always hitting on the minute markers and the hour markers. Man, it's really cool. So even without this running, you could tell how many seconds have elapsed pretty much by where the arrow is when it moves. So that's really cool. If you activate the T-Touch and touch it again on the time, then you got time 2. As you can see, it's 5:17. Touch it again, there's the battery. This is a rechargeable battery, obviously, and that's replaceable too, but it shouldn't need it for a long time. It's meant to go almost forever, maybe 10 years or whatever. That's usually going in there and swap that out. 3 zeros means that it's a full battery, and then you'll have 2 zeros or 1. I've never had it less than 3 because that solar panel is so big. That whole carbon fiber looking area is a solar panel. And if you look really carefully, you see those lines? those are the solar panel demarcation areas. I think those are different cells or something, or those are the wires. I'm not sure, but that's part of the whole solar panel. You can see that really neatly in there. You can see the sort of skeletonized minute hand and hour hand. There's no second hand. You'd have to go to that other area I just showed you to see the seconds. So that's really cool. As you can see, we have Arabic numerals at the 12, 3, 6, and 9. We also have indices, and so very, very legible day or night. That is what it looks like in the daytime. And we'll shut the lights off, and we'll charge up this with the flashlight just a few seconds here. And we will shut this lamp off here. And that's what the loom looks like. It's not even totally dark. You see it works pretty well. It lasts all night. The hands have more superluminova than the indices. So the numbers will, in the middle of the night, get much dimmer and almost non-existent before the hands do. So the hands last all night though. And even if the 12's not glowing, you could tell that this side is different than the other side. So in the dark, you could tell where the 12 is. But that's a really cool blue loom. The indices, the numbers, the hands. Someone mentioned on a review somewhere I read that these glow too, but they don't. That's just white. So the degrees and the cardinal points don't glow. So that's the loom. If I forgot any features, we'll get back to it. Let me talk about the case now. So this case is titanium, hence the lightweight, but extremely strong. We got the ceramic bezel, but everything else is titanium. Even the buttons, from what I can ascertain, I couldn't find any reference to the buttons anywhere. But when I tap the back and the case, they all sound like metal. The ceramic thing kind of sounds like glass, and the buttons sound like titanium to me. So all titanium construction. The back is titanium, and it's screwed down with those screws. You can't have a true screw down back because of the way that the case is designed. Here we got some smudges on there. And there you can see the writing. Tissot 1883, that's when they were founded. We got model numbers in here. They're actually serial numbered. Water resistance that covers all the bases. 10 bars, 100 meters, 330 feet. Sapphire crystal, and that has a anti or non-reflective coating on it, which works really well. Oh, it also says titanium back there. Also, I read that the touchscreen is the solar panel, but that's not true. That is the solar panel on the upper part right there. All right, to talk about the green version. So this is the black version, and it came with a black silicone strap, but it had a release that is actually like this watch right here. You know, the clasp of the button, it had one of those. But I had one of those on, if you've seen these Tissot watches that are rubber, but it has all sections in here that you actually cut it. So instead of a bracelet taking out links, you would actually had all, there's all like scores across it where you could slice it. So that's what I did. You know, it came with the clasp that was all titanium, all black to match the PVD. This is PVD coated, by the way, positive vapor deposition. So what happened was I cut it down. I was on the safe side, and it was too big when I cut the sections off and you put it back into the clasp. But it was too big, and it did have 3 holes for adjustments, just like this one has here. This is another Tissot watch. As you can see, the little holes. So it had like 3 or 4 holes here. I think it had 4. So I was forced to cut one more section off, and once I did, that was it. It was, I mean, barely loose. It was kind of a little too tight. And if I took a walk or something, forget it. So I couldn't wear the strap. I had to sell it on eBay, and I bought this one. I noticed that the green version of this watch comes in a cool green version where the bezel is green coated ceramic. So you'd have this green, you have this green strap, and then the upper part here, instead of the carbon fiber looking thing, see those lines that you could barely see? Well, on that version of the watch, those are actually filled in with like green lines to look like sort of compass points or like a mountain or something. So that's the only difference between this watch. It's all black. Everything's the same, except you got the green bezel and a different pattern in the solar. But I did notice looking at that watch that it had a normal buckle strap. So that's what I did. I bought the strap separately from an authorized Tissot strap seller. And I got this awesome. This strap is, I don't know why they don't put a black one of this on this watch instead of that goofy cutting the strap thing. Because these are like perfect. This silicone strap is strong yet supple. Look at that. It is an amazingly comfortable. There is no break-in period. And it also has a little rigid insert just like G-Shocks or other watches so it doesn't get broken here. And that's really soft. And it just molds to my wrist instantly. It is amazingly comfortable. It cost me like $100, but it was well worth it. This buckle is all titanium PVD coated. That's not cheap to do. All milled perfectly. There's the item numbers. It's got this really nice keeper that goes in this little section. You can pop it out, but it's held in there pretty well. And then the second keeper is movable. So this way when you're wearing it, no matter what size your wrist is, when you put that on there, let's say you have a little bit smaller wrist and it goes something like that. So all you do is take this one and go up here like this, and then it looks really good on your wrist. So no matter what size, you got bigger size, you go like this. That's kind of how it is on my wrist, as you saw. So this strap is awesome. It's got vent ribs here and also for sweat. It's got a lot of holes that go up in case you have small wrists. Just incredibly nicely done. So thumbs up on that. Before I forget, let's get back to the dimensions because I said it wasn't quite 53 millimeters across. So if you go straight across this way, the round part, let's get millimeters on there. I don't have my calipers right now. If you go straight across here, you're only looking at 46 millimeters. You know, that's only 46, 47. And if you go out the absolute widest portion across here, it's hard for me to see, but it's going to be right at 50, 51, something like that. So all the way across here, it's going to be like 51, but it wears a little bit smaller. So that's the dimensions on that. I better wrap this up soon, but pros and cons, it's just an amazingly easy watch to use. So if I'm wearing the watch, I'm getting ready to go for a hike or a walk, which I do all the time. All I do is press that button there and then hit the chronograph and then get it going. That's it. I'm on my walk, right on my wrist, so easy to do. And then I could time my miles and so forth. Not only that, but before I take a walk, I just go over here and I hit the altimeter and I adjust that. So let's say that it was off. All you do is hold it down, and then you can adjust it up or down. Let's say you're at 145. You just go there and hit the center, and then now when you take a walk, it's going to be a very accurate measurement of, and it's very accurate. It'll start moving after 3 feet or so. Also, I'm a ham radio operator. I have a ham radio channel called Ham Radio Comms. And sometimes if I'm driving around, I want to get high ground and hit repeaters. What's really cool is like I go to Walmart parking lot here, and I noticed that it was higher up than the surrounding. It was, instead of the town that's 65 feet, it's at like 300 feet. So with this watch, I could tell exactly, my altitude, which is really cool in my other hobbies. So extremely easy to use, very ergonomic. A solar panel, you never need batteries. The ceramic isn't going to scratch that easily. The PVD coating, titanium construction, Swiss-made watch all the way around, including the movement. The movement is pretty amazing. After, in the middle of the night or sometime after 3 or 4 hours, this whole bottom screen goes dark. It figures you're not using the watch, it's going to save power, and that's why the battery hasn't been running down. So there's so many things that they thought out on this watch. The precision, the way the hands move, the precision of the increments of the minute hand, the visibility. I didn't show you the nighttime. It has a backlight. Let me show you that really quickly. It's important. And then even if you don't have a glow on the watch, if it's dark, all you do is hold this down for over a second. I think it's 2 seconds. There you go. And how cool is that? It's got a really nice white backlight. And the backlight will stay lit as you go through functions. Unlike like G-Shocks, where if you touch anything, the backlight goes off, this will stay on. So you can actually change it to the seconds if you want to see that while it's dark. So you hold this down, and then you can hit the center, and then go to seconds. So you can see the seconds now, and that it's PM instead of AM. So yeah, again, just well thought of. Everything they did on this watch is really, really well thought out. I recommend the buckle bracelet, but the other one that comes with the black version, if it fits your wrist, then everything's fine. It's nice and soft, and it not quite like this though. This is a home run. And there's also a really cool orange version. I almost got that. I almost got the orange strap for this, but I figured green would go better than the orange. But the orange is super cool, man. I wish I had it. All right, here's something you probably didn't realize, and I didn't for a little while, is that until I got the watch, is that they can't find, I guess, regular pins that you put on watches that aren't magnetic, so it'll mess up the compass. So this one has a special pin that, as you can see here, there's no place to take the pin out like you would like on a normal watch. Let me see if I can show you an easy one here that has a quick release. I guess not. But you know, a regular watch, you go in here and you take the tool and you could take the little spring pin out. This one doesn't have that. This one has a straight pin, and you can see the holes on the ends. I thought these holes were that you push that in, just like you know, Rolexes and other watches. They have a hole that you can easily take the like this one here. Here's my Samurai. See those holes there? That's where you take your tool and or a pin. You push it in there to help you pop out the spring-loaded clip pin rather. But this one doesn't have that. This is just one straight pin. So you actually have to take I'm not kidding on this. You got to take a pin punch there and start whacking it with a hammer to drive that out this end. And then you take pliers and pull that out without bending it or anything. I know there was a guy on YouTube who says, oh yeah, I change my strap all the time. And they show him banging it with hammers and stuff. Man, it's not easy getting that in there, because that last stretch, you don't want to bang this with a hammer. You have to use a tool and try to get that in there so it doesn't come out this side. And there you can see the pin on the other side. Let's see if you can see that in there. Oop. There you go. See that silver part? That's the pin. That has to be driven all the way through. So once I got this on there, I said, that's it. I like this strap. But anyway, that's one of the quirky things about this watch. It's not so easy to change out the straps. You don't want to do that every day. So be content with the strap you have on there. Maybe twice a year or something for summer and winter you can do that. Or I'm going to look at my list real quick, make sure I didn't forget anything. No, I think, 1883 is marked. Tissot, really, really sharp, really cool writing, and Swiss made, as you can see on the bottom. Well, you know, I think I covered everything. Oh, the strap is marked right there. Pretty cool. You know, attention to detail on these things. T for Tissot, and you got the Swiss logo on there as well. All right, I think I'll wrap it up here. As you can tell by me going on and on about this watch, that I love this watch. I wear it almost every time I leave the house. I work from home, doing YouTube videos on my other channels and stuff. I'm semi-retired. But I wear this watch almost every time I go out. And this is the one I wear on my right wrist, because this is like a foolproof solar watch that almost nothing can go wrong, where digital watches might. So I like wearing one of these if I go leave the house for a long time. I like having two watches. I'm not like the guy from Omega that wears 7, but 2 is pretty cool. I don't mind. They're under the cuffs. Not a lot of people see that. You might be weird wearing a couple watches. But hey, this is Wristwatch Obsession channel, right? So that's what you get. You got a person that wears 2 watches a lot. So anyway, I wear this one a lot. And just previews of coming attractions. My other Tissot T-Touch Expert. This is the same exact watch. Does all the same functions, almost all in the same way. Except this one is battery. And it's smaller. And it's all titanium. 4.1 ounces. It's a little bit heavy compared to G-Shocks or something. A little bit thick, but this bracelet is exceptional and makes the watch very well balanced on the wrist. just something really cool, the nightlight on this. This is the next review of watch. So hit the little bell notification. You'll get notified when I do this watch. You hold down the button. This one has a really cool, let's get the chronograph so you can see that glow. Look at that. A really cool red glow on the nightlight. That is freaking awesome. Anyway, thanks for watching Wristwatch Obsession. As again, my name is Edgar. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for stopping by. Please subscribe and please hit that bell notification and you'll be notified when I have another cool watch to review. All right, thanks for watching and take care.